this is Kelley Hobart from Alpaca Direct, and I'm here with Technique Tuesday. And I just wanted to hope that everyone there had a great Christmas and wish everyone a happy New Year. And I'm just going to be talking about the Sea Breeze Shawl today. And it is a knit club project. And boy, was it a challenge. We had to bind off a lot of stitches and pick up a lot of stitches and do all kinds of stuff. Keep track of yarn overs, and it was really fun. But I have to say, I'm glad I have it almost done. Can you believe? Right at the very end, I ran out of yarn. So when I did mine, I was trying to use up every scrap of yarn that I could. And the pattern stops right here. So I thought, oh, I'll do a garter stitch edge. And then I'll follow that because I had a little leftover of our blue colored yarn, and I followed that up with a yarn over knit two together around the circle. And then I did this lovely little Picot bind off. And of course I did mine on the wrong side. This, you'll notice this is the back side of the work, and my Picot, here's the front side of the work. And that wasn't on purpose. I was trying to use all of my blue yarn, and then I ended on the side so that I should have probably went to the other side and started from the front again, but I didn't think of that until I got partway through.
So everyone's coming on board, but we were a few minutes late, so sorry.
Yes, good morning everyone. It's nice to have you here with us. And I am enjoying our project. I'm glad I'm almost done with this Sea Breeze Shawl, and I'm very anxious to be able to wear it. It's made out of Ultra Alpaca Light, which is a nice, it has wonderful alpaca to keep you warm. And it's snowing outside, and so I love the idea of keeping warm, especially since, you know, I'm always cold. And this project that we have today is one of our knit club projects. So if any of you haven't seen our knit club, it's a place where we all learn together, and every month I try to come up with a new project so that you can learn something new. Maybe one month it is working on a shawl, the next month it's working on a hat, the next month it's working on color work. It's all different things so that you can step by step increase your learning capacity and just, you know, have fun while you're doing it. And I also offer videos all along the way, so any sticky point I talk with you about it and show you how I got through it and kind of make it easier for you to be able to knit it. So for those of you who are advanced beginners and want to learn more, it's a great place for you. Also, we have a wonderful VIP group. If you haven't seen that before, it's free to the public, right, Jim?
Mm-hmm.
And all you have to do is sign up, and you can get these wonderful ladies that you can ask questions, you can share your work with each other. It's just a great resource that is free for you. So I would highly recommend any of you that are wanting to learn, that's another, the VIP group is a great resource for us. This is a picture of our Sea Breeze Shawl.
And we did that with Barocco, right? So.
Yes, it was Barocco Ultra Alpaca Light. And I have my project here. I added on as much as I could just to make it, and this hasn't been blocked yet, so it's pre-blocking, so it'll stretch out quite a bit. And I really like this lace pattern. I like how she did it. She did it by binding off stitches and casting on stitches. So for those of you who haven't been able to practice casting on stitches, it's a great skill. And so by doing this project, you can learn a lot. I mean, you can learn a lot. So one little trick that I wanted to show you, when I'm talking about, say I want to pick up 100 stitches, I'll show you an easy way. When you're picking up stitches, you want to pick them up evenly so that you can have no warping and no funny looking stitches. If you've ever seen where someone has picked up, but they haven't picked up evenly when they're picking up and knitting, it looks bad. It has a warped look to it. And let me tell you, I've done that before. That's how I know. I watched TV and not paid attention to where I was picking up the stitches, and when I got done I had to start all over again because it looked horrible. So say that I want to pick up 100 stitches along this shawl, and I say to myself, how am I possibly going to be able to figure out how to pick up these stitches evenly? So the first thing that I would do is grab some of these nice little locking stitch markers, and we have them here at Alpaca Direct. A nice big package. If you haven't tried these before, they're handy dandy. And they're in different colors because I love different colors for marking. So say I'm going to pick up 100 stitches. The first thing that I would do is grab the two ends and fold them together. Then I would place a stitch marker. Okay? Then I would fold it again. Place a stitch marker. Then I would fold this side to the center. Place a stitch marker. Now we have 100 stitches. We're going to divide that by 4, which is 25 stitches. So if I'm picking up stitches and I want it to be an even pickup, I would know that I would pick up 25 stitches from here to here, 25 stitches from here to here, 25 stitches from here to here, and lastly 25 stitches from here to here. And that will give us an even pickup. Now one more hint. When you're picking up stitches, make sure if you're picking up on the very edges of a project, pick it up right at the very, very edge. Don't pick it up in a little bit, because if you're picking up your stitches like this, for instance, and you pick it up right here or right here instead of right here at the very corner, you will have an indentation. Your work will have an indentation, and you don't want that to happen. So on here, on different places on here, I had to pick up stitches. But do you see how my work goes all the way to the very edge? That's because when I picked up the stitch, the very first stitch and the very last stitch, I made sure to get it right on the very edge. So there's no indentation from where the pickup was. So those are just a couple little tricks that'll help you get on your way and have a nice even pickup of your stitches, so your work doesn't look warped and it looks beautiful and nice and even and smooth. So that's what we're going for. We're trying to make the best fabric that we can make when we're making our project.
Hey, Kelly, a bunch more people all jumped on, so you might want to mention what this is again.
Hi, good morning, everyone. For those of you who have just jumped in, we're talking about our Sea Breeze Shawl, and this was our Knit Club project for this month, and we're getting ready to release a new one soon. So if you like learning new skills, this is the way to do it. Doing the Knit Club, you get a nice pattern. I go through every single section and help you get through it, and I go over sticky points where you're going to be. When it says pick up stitches on the right hand side or whatever, I show you pick up stitches here and here, and so that when you're picking up, you know exactly how to turn your work and where to pick up those stitches. And so this is a great resource for those of you who like doing projects, and this is our Knit Club project called the Sea Breeze Shawl. So I have just about finished mine. I ran out of yarn on my bind off, and that Picot bind off takes a lot of yarn, and so I underestimated it by a little tiny bit.
But that wasn't part of the pattern, right? That was your extra little thing?
No, I just added on. I like using all my yarn. When I'm knitting, if I can use every scrap of my yarn so I don't have leftovers, then I feel like all of that yarn went to good use, and it also gives me a little bigger shawl. And I thought because this is a nice lace border, I thought the garter stitch was really super nice on the edge. It kind of stabilized that edge and gave it a little bit more of a refined finish. So I really like that. So anyway, I'm looking forward to being able to block this and work on it. But I wanted to...
Hey, Kel?
Yes?
Just so to mention the videos, that there's, I think, 20 videos that you did.
On this one project,
20 videos,
yes.
Just on this one project. They're little 2, 3, 4 minute videos.
Right, little tiny videos that kind of help you along the way. And this project is a challenging project. It involves picking up lots of stitches, binding off, picking up, binding off. And so it's a great practice. If you haven't picked up a lot of stitches, it's a great way to do it. Also, when I'm doing these projects, and sometimes on my pickups, like for the ones that I did when I had to pick up new stitches, I dropped down a needle size for my pickup, so that my pickup on these edges right here, I don't lose the flexibility, but what I get is a clean, tidy looking pickup that doesn't look sloppy. And if you look on the back of it, see how tidy and neat and clean it looks. And all I did is pick up with a needle that is at least one size smaller than the needle that I'm knitting with, and it made it tighter. I might have used a needle 2 sizes smaller, but I don't really care. I just kind of pick up what I have. It's all good. Anyways, so let's go over here and take a look at this. I want to show you how to do this picot. And what a picot is it involves casting on a couple stitches and then binding off some stitches, then casting on some stitches, then binding off some stitches, and so on and so forth. And you can make it as wide as you want or as tall as you want. And the way that you make it taller is you cast on more stitches. And the way that you make it longer is you bind off more stitches in between your cast on. So if you just want it to be a little tiny edge, you can cast on 2 stitches, say. That's what this one is. It's casting on 2 stitches. But you can make it a bigger picot edge by casting on 3. You can experiment. I would highly recommend experimenting with these things. So let's take a look at how we cast on and what I was thinking when I did mine. So when you have a picot edge, for instance, and you're going to do one, it may tell you to start by casting on stitches, or it might just have you bind off stitches. If you bind off stitches, you're going to get like just a regular flat piece, and then you're going to have your picot. But if you want your picot to be right at the very edge, which is how I did this one, then what I would do is I would start with a cable cast on of 2 stitches. So to do that picot edge, the way I did mine, I cable cast on, and that means you take your right hand needle and you insert it in between the 2 stitches, wrap the yarn around counterclockwise like we always do, and bring it out from under. Now take that left hand leg and put it on your needle. So now I have cast on 2 stitches. And then all you do is you bind off. This pattern called for 5, but you could do 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you take that stitch, the last stitch on there, and you put it back over on your left hand needle. Now here's where you cast on 2 more stitches using the cable cast on, putting that left hand leg on your left hand needle, and then once again binding off 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then you put that stitch back on the left hand needle and cast on 2 more, and then bind off 5. And then you can put that back on here, cast on 2. This was actually a good, I didn't plan it this way, but oops, cable cast on. And you could use a knitted cast on. You can use whatever you want. The most important thing in knitting is whatever you choose to use, be consistent with it and your work will look good. So this last one I could only bind off 3 stitches, but you could see that it actually works out pretty nicely because you have that last picot right at the very edge. So if I took this out, and let's see if I have, I'm trying to think where.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, anyways, I don't have a scissors right now, but you can see that it looks really good. So the picot started right on this edge over here, and then it goes all the way across. Now let's look and see how we could possibly, I need to get this out of the way, sorry. I'm gonna use a little different yarn so you can see, and I just wanted to go and show you how I pick up my garter stitches do the pick up on the garter stitch edge. And I just turned this over so that's out of my way so I can work. So each garter stitch ridge is made from 2 rows. So say that we were going to pick up 2 stitches per garter stitch row. That's a 1-to-1 ratio, because each row we're going to pick up 1 stitch. Okay, so since our garter stitch ridge is made out of 2 rows, then you have 2 stitches that you pick up. So when you pick it up, oops, 1 second here. Come on, my dear, pull it. Let's see if we can get it up. Ah, there you go. So I picked up 1 on the front side of the knot, and then I'm going to pick up from this back. Just pick up right there. There you go. Then I'm going to pick up 1 from this front side. Do you see how the garter stitch ridge has this almost like a knot in the front there? So I'm going to pick up 1 from there. And then your patterns will usually tell you what the ratio is. Maybe they might have you pick up 1 stitch for 3 rows. Pick up like 1-to-1 ratio, and then they'll have you skip a stitch. They'll tell you what they want in the pattern usually. So I'm picking up in this front ridge. And this is a pickup. It's called a pickup and knit. Okay, and if it doesn't look right, you just take it out and do it until you're satisfactory. So I'm picking up this stitch in the knot. Oops. And this is where your lace tips on your actual needles, having the lace tips works much better than if I had a wooden tip that is not quite as pointed. It's a little harder to pick up the stitches. So picking up those stitches with a lace tip is really, really handy. And you can also use, some people, I don't know if you guys out there, have you guys used crochet hook to pick up stitches? That's another way to do it. When I was more of a beginner, I would use a crochet hook to pick up stitches. And I might even now, if I was in a spot where I was kind of stuck and couldn't get those stitches. But you see, I'm using a little bit smaller needle than I would what I'm knitting with. And you can see how the pickup is pretty darn nice. Just make sure when you do pick up, if I was going all the way over to this edge, I would go right back to the very, very last stitch. And that would be my last pickup, because you don't want your edge to be sucked in because you didn't pick up the very first. See how that looks much better than if I had stopped right here? So just make sure you do that when you're doing your pickup. Go all the way to the edge. Don't go in. Don't leave yourself a kind of a lumpy looking thing because you didn't pick up the very edge stitch. So look for that stitch and it'll help you get a better pickup on your garter stitch edge. Now, we need to go real quick and go through our contest. And our contest that we have, the one for today, you guys need to vote on it. We have our Sea Breeze Shawl, and I love these colors. This one is the darker teal, and this one's a lighter. So you let us know which one you think our winner for this week's contest would win, the darker teal or the lighter.
What's the yarn?
This is Ultra Alpaca Light, and it's 50% alpaca and 50% wool. So you get the warmth of the alpaca and the strength of the wool, which is totally fantastic. And you guys need to help me decide what color we're going to give out for next week. And the way that you sign up for the contest is by entering comments in the comment section. Maybe you'll let us know what you're working on. Maybe you can share a pattern with us, or you can just, maybe you found something that helps you when you're picking up stitches to make it easier, and you can share that with our fellow listeners so that we can all learn. Any of those comments get you entered to win so that you can win some of this lovely yarn. And then if you win, all you have to do is give us your address and it goes right out in the mail to you and you get it at your doorstep. So it's totally fantastic. Now the winner for this last week, we had Riptide, or we had, this is called Waves, and Riptide won, right, Jim? Mm-hmm. The winner was Riptide. Let's see who our winner was. Rachel Condora. You won, yay! That's fantastic. You got some of this bamboo pop sock, and it is wonderful. Bamboo cotton blend. It's so much fun to knit with this stuff. It feels really nice, either in socks or in scarves, anything like that. It's so super fantastic. So, okay. So as we're doing our knit club project, we are learning new skills. So if you guys like learning new skills, be sure to sign up for our project. And this Sea Breeze Shawl was a project from our knit club kit. So it's not available to everyone. It's exclusively for the knit club. So that was what we were talking about for this week. And then to make sure that you do a perfect pickup on your garter stitch edge using the little hints and tips and tricks that I gave you so that you can have a nice even pickup and have it look beautiful. Totally fantastic. And was there anything else? Oh, this next week I'm going to be working on a pattern from Andrea Mowry, and I am going to show you how to make it on a budget. So that's what I will be talking about this next week. And I will also be talking about New Year's resolution ideas. And I'm going to review my New Year's resolutions and see how I did with them. You know how a lot of people say, you make New Year's resolutions, you forget about them on the 2nd. You come up with them on the 1st, you forget about them on the 2nd. No. Okay, so for me, I love having goals. It's another way for me to write goals. So I am going to be talking about my goals that I had and how well I did with that. So that's what I'll be talking about. So you guys have a very, very happy New Year. Stay very safe, and if you're in the snow, drive carefully. I see people slipping all over the place outside, and I always worry about our elderly population walking around because I have taken a fall before, and so you have to be very careful and put on your yak tracks to keep your feet safe so you don't slip. So you guys take care now, and I will see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.